Guadalcanal, a tiny island more than 1,000 miles north of Australia. August 7, 1942. The heat did not merely sap comfort, it smothered it. 4 Private First Class Sato Kenji of the Imperial Japanese Army, this island had become his entire world. He was far from the cool air of his home island of Hokkaido. He woke before the sun fully rose above the jungle canopy, rubbing sleep from his eyes as he slowly sat up. The air was already heavy. Rain from the night before had soaked his uniform, which clung to his back, slick with sweat. He had slept in a shallow foxhole scraped into red clay near the Lunga River, his Arisaka rifle wrapped in oilcloth, his pack beneath his head. Cicadas droned endlessly. For weeks, nothing had changed except the hunger and the heat. Days blurred into routine, digging, cleaning weapons, standing watch. What Sato did not know was that this quiet monotony was about to end, replaced by sudden terror. His comrade Hiroshi was on sentry duty, crouched behind a low berm of earth and palm logs marking their sector. Through gaps in the trees, he watched the pale strip of beach. In moments like this, the war felt distant. Tokyo, training grounds, shouted orders, all far away. Yet beneath the boredom, Sato felt a vague unease. Rumors had circulated for weeks. Enemy ships offshore, aircraft heard at night. Still, Guadalcanal had remained quiet. At 6:45, everything changed. The first sound was not gunfire, but thunder, deep, rolling, unnatural. Sato looked up at the clear sky in confusion. Then flashes appeared on the horizon, followed by a rising howl through the air. The first shell exploded behind him, snapping trees like matchsticks. Another followed, then another. The ground convulsed. Men shouted. Some were thrown into the air. The bombardment crept inland with deliberate precision. With cold clarity, Sato understood. The Americans had come. The shelling seemed endless. When it finally lifted, an awful silence followed. Sato looked for Hiroshi. He was gone. Where Hiroshi had been was now a churned crater of earth and broken timber. The realization struck hard, but there was no time to grieve. From the beach came new sounds, engines, whistles, shouted commands in a foreign tongue. Sato chambered around, hands shaking despite himself. His mouth was dry. He remembered his training. Hold your ground. Let the enemy come close. Through the palms he saw them, figures moving cautiously, helmets low, rifles ready. American Marines. They were closer than he expected. Too close. Sato fired. The recoil slammed into his shoulder. Around him, rifles cracked unevenly, a light machine gun chattering from a flank. The jungle erupted into chaos. He forced himself to breathe, firing again and again, shifting position after every few shots as he crawled through mud and fallen leaves. Grenades exploded ahead of the advancing Marines, throwing dirt and smoke into the air. For a moment, it slowed them. An officer shouted orders nearby, his voice hoarse but steady. Fear pressed against Sato's chest, but it mixed with grim resolve. This was his sector. These were his comrades. He reloaded and kept firing. By mid-morning, American fire intensified. Mortar rounds began to fall with terrifying accuracy. The machine gun to Sato's left vanished in smoke and debris. The officer fell silent, slumped over a foxhole, blood seeping from a small hole in his helmet. Smoke thickened, stinging Sato's eyes. The Marines advanced again, methodical, covered by machine gun fire. The line began to crumble. Orders finally came to withdraw deeper into the jungle, to regroup, to survive. Sato fired his last rounds and ran, legs burning, heart pounding. At the rally point, his platoon no longer existed as a unit. Fewer than a quarter of the men who had been alive that morning remained. The beachhead was lost. Sato knew it as he collapsed beneath a tree, gasping for breath. Around him, survivors sat in stunned silence. As the first day ended, Sato stared at his mud-streaked hands. Fear remained, but so did certainty. Guadalcanal would demand everything he had, day after brutal day. Surrender was not an option. Honor forbade it. Sooner or later, he knew, he would fix his bayonet and charge into the enemy.